Sound speeds, and welcome to yet another product review. But in order to set this one up, let me tell you a short story. Recently, I came to the end of a 7-month-long show, and during the run of that show, there was this one guy that was constantly blasting music either from his cart or from his cell phone as he was wandering around, and he wandered around a lot. So you can imagine, since I was not really a fan of his particular music choice, I was not that happy listening to his music constantly. But one day he showed up and I was no longer hearing that music. And I inquired to his department heads and the people he worked with. And I said, why isn't he not blasting his music like normal? I said, oh, well, he's about to leave to go to another show and we gave him his wrap gift early. I said, well, okay, what is it? They said, it's a personal speaker system. I said, well, if it's a personal speaker system, why am I not hearing it? And they told me to go talk to him. So I went over and greeted him and said, so I heard that you got some sort of a personal speaker system, and that's why I've not been hearing your music lately. He didn't say a word. He simply did this. And he put it on my shoulder. And suddenly I was immersed in a song that, of course, was weird, like I always remembered him to be. But this intrigued me, and I only had it on my shoulders for maybe 5 seconds. So I reached out to Bose and I asked them if they would be willing to send me a SoundWear Companion speaker in exchange for a fair review. And here is my unbiased review in exchange for this. This little horseshoe-shaped speaker is actually pretty impressive for what it is. It is not headphones, so it doesn't fit over your ears and block out everything. Nor is it a sound system that lives at the other side of the room, and as you walk around, the fidelity completely changes and forget about trying to listen to anything when you go into another room. This lives on your shoulder, and if you have an iPhone or an Android or a Windows phone in your pocket, the sound goes with you. And even if you don't, the range on it's pretty impressive. Line of sight, I was able to get sound on this from about 60 feet away from my phone before it started to lose a little bit of the information as it was traveling through the air. However, I will tell you this, just like any other Bluetooth device, it does not pick up well through walls. So I can leave my Android phone on charge in my bedroom and go into the next room, the bathroom, in order to brush my teeth or something without it breaking up. But try walking down the hall, not so much. As you know, I don't really waste my time with unboxing videos on this channel, but I will at least show you what's in the box once I take everything out. Happy? In addition to the SoundWear Companion itself, it comes with a charger and a quick start guide, a user manual, and a product information card along with registration details. The SoundWear Companion is a Bose product, therefore you know it's going to be built well. It is made of rubber and it's slightly squishy to the touch, but not overly. It feels very well made. One of the cool things is also it comes with a little cover for it. So that's actually what you're looking at right now. You can unzip the cover if you'd like to take it apart, and you'll need to do this to charge. You can also see all the buttons on the inside there. The covers come in blue, black, and plum. This one's a black one. Quite a few companies out there are also making hard cases that you can store your SoundWear Companion in when you're not using it. The buttons feel really strong and sturdy. They're not too difficult to press, nor are they too easy and feel cheap and flimsy. So if you press the button, you have a little click noise that you can...
60%. Connected to Ellen's HTC10.
Okay, so connected to my phone. You heard it power down and power back up in that short amount of time, which is pretty cool. It doesn't take very long at all. So you have your power button here. You have your Bluetooth button here. Charging port is actually on the inside there. You have your volume down, multifunction, and a volume up. The multifunction button, it depends on what you're doing. It can answer a cell phone, and it has various different features regarding your cell phone. And if you're listening to music, you can fast forward, rewind, skip ahead, that kind of thing. Yay, headphone hair. This room is very quiet. And even when the SoundWear Companion is up full blast, I hear no buzz from the Bluetooth speaker or anything else on this. It's a very quiet system. I found that typically you don't need to turn it up very loud to hear the music pretty well. This room is quiet, so you can hear this music very adequately, even at a low volume. Now, just so that you know, my phone is at its maximum in volume. The sound is being regulated by the SoundWear Companion itself, and currently it is at the very minimal volume setting. I'm sure that you were able to hear the music just fine in this quiet environment, but in the real world, it's nowhere near as quiet. So when I play my music and I turn it up even a little bit more, just so I can hear over the noise floor of the real world, then it's not going to be obtrusive to the people around you. That's one of the cool things about this. Let me turn it up for you, though, to see how loud it goes. That's actually incredibly loud. Okay, good. It came to an end. That's my theme song. I'm sure Bose would have preferred me to review this product earlier since they sent it to me a matter of weeks ago. However, I wanted to be fair to it. And here's a couple of the findings I have found that are basically very fair to it. If I'm doing work outside, like building acoustic panels or something, doing something outside, climbing a tree, hanging up Christmas lights, doing whatever I happen to be doing, this is actually very comfortable. I don't hardly feel the weight, and if I go down and up, I don't really notice it very much. I can bend straight down, and because it's grabbing the back of my neck, it's holding on really well. How often do you ever have your hands over your head if you're not a boom operator? Probably not insanely often. However, I will tell you this, even when I was hanging up Christmas lights and doing decorations around the house, it did not bother me because I could put my arm straight up and it doesn't move. It grabs hold of you pretty well, and that's without any pressure on there at all. So it's pretty well built, and it's a very well designed system. On the underside of the SoundWear Companion, there is a zipper, and if you unzip it, you can access the actual SoundWear Companion itself. With the cover off, you can see not only the device itself and the speakers, but you can also see the bass reflex ports. Now, anyone who knows anything about speakers knows that a port not only relieves the pressure behind the speaker cone, but it also kind of reinforces the bass just a little bit because it allows that sound to actually travel into the room. Now, what Bose has done with this is they built the speaker in such a way where the bass reflex ports are on the opposite side of the SoundWear Companion so that the bass reflex port of the left speaker is right next to the speaker on the right side. You would actually think this makes it out of phase, and it does, except for the fact that Bose designed it to actually be in phase on the other side. If you know anything about Bose, then you know the Bose sound, a very prominent low end and a mid-high presence boost. Now, this little companion is no different, but because of that bass reflex port on both sides, it actually reinforces the sound and gives a very prominent low end. When I played music through it, depending on the music style that I chose, it was almost overwhelming. If I played anything with bass in it, Daft Punk, for example, it was overwhelming. When I played Macklemore Thrift Shop, it was very overwhelming. In the past few years, I've become less impressed with colored sounds, at least in my speakers. So when I listen to something, I like it to be relatively flat. That way, if I need to do an EQ just to hear something a little differently, it's flat, therefore I can boost it to the way I want to hear it. Now, the SoundWear Companion does over-dramatize the low end. I guess I could put it that way. And to me, that's actually a little bit too much to hear. But I was able to make a tweak, and I opened it up, and on the inside of the bass reflex ports, I tore a little cotton ball and put a little bit on the inside of each one of them. That was just enough to attenuate the bass so it's not overwhelming. I did have to dial it in a little bit. I added a little bit of cotton, I took a little bit of cotton out until it sounded good and balanced on both ears. Now, to me, I actually really like the way these things sound now. Because of the mid-high presence boost, when you attenuate the low end a little bit, it actually balances out the sound much more even. And for people like me that don't really like a whole lot of strongly colored sounds, it balances it. And it just makes it a lot more bearable to listen to. Now, you may love the sound coming straight out of the box. A lot of people do that I've put this on the shoulders of. But to me personally, I like the fact that I was able to make a small modification to it that is not going to hurt the warranty or anything, and it is going to work well for me. Recently, I DJ'd a couple of parties, and it wasn't like a huge, big, crazy, nuts-like party. It was more background music. So I didn't have to have full DJ speakers on there that could allow me to cue up music as I wanted to. But what I was able to do is bring up my booth level into these speakers, so as people would come up and talk to me, because I knew a lot of the people there at the party, I was able to listen to them, carry on a conversation with them, yet bring up my booth level and cue up all my music with the SoundWear Companions over here, and the people I was talking to were none the wiser. Because they connect up to Bluetooth devices like my laptop or my desktop, I can edit my videos wherever I want to, listening on real speakers, not necessarily headphones. Now, sometimes you will, in long sessions, have ear fatigue and it will start to hurt your ears if you wear headphones. This is a good way to actually get relief on your ears because it's right there on your shoulders. You'll hear the sound just fine without it being too loud, especially in quiet environments like editing suites. Being completely honest, when I first put the SoundWear Companion on my shoulder, I was not impressed with the low end. It was way overemphasized. It was too much for me. So, being completely fair, I did put these on the shoulders of a few other people. And everyone else that I put it on the shoulders of had a different opinion than me. Some people said, I really like this. What is this? And they wanted to know what it was because they wanted to get it for their girlfriend or wife. Not everybody, though. There was one or two people that said, wow, that's a lot of low end. I'm not expecting that. They did not say they didn't like it though. However, I will say this, because the bass reflex ports are open, if you put a little bit of cotton in there, and I'm not saying cram it in there to the point where it's like jammed, I mean put a little bit in there just so it attenuates just a little bit, stops that air from moving through there. Just enough, it actually makes it very well balanced, and I really like the way it sounds. I know what you're thinking. The product itself, you're actually modifying it. That's not really a fair review. Fine, I'll say this then. Out of the box, I'm not a huge fan of the SoundWear Companion because as I've gotten older, I prefer a more flat reproduction of my music. If I want to boost something, I will, but I don't always want that, and almost never do I really want that. I don't have to have low-end thumping on me. However, I will say that a lot of people do like the sound of it, so don't let my impression of that skew you away from it. It is so easy to modify that even a child can do it. Slight little bitty pieces of tiny cotton added on the inside of the bass reflex ports balance it out very nicely, and to my ears it sounds a lot more pleasant. And since I found that little trick, I'm able to do that, and it sounds so much better, and it doesn't hurt my ears anymore. The build quality is exactly what you would expect from a company like Bose. Solid as a rock. Now, this is a $300 purchase. On Amazon, it's currently going for around $299. So do you want to have something like this versus speakers? It does have advantages over speakers and headphones because you can listen to it like speakers while you're on the go without closing up your ears like everything else. Is it going to be something that you can jog with down the road like the Aftershocks I reviewed? Probably not, but that's not their appeal. Their appeal is more a full speaker sound right there in your ears, almost like a cone of sound that comes up to your ears. So check out the Bose SoundWear Companion. If you work in an office and you like to have your talk radio or your music on, but people around you complain if it's too loud, this gets it really close to you, yet you can still hear everybody around you, and it's great. If you're an editor, you can also avoid the ear fatigue while hearing a full speaker system. It's quite fascinating, and I strongly recommend you checking them out. Be sure to tune into more episodes of Sound Speeds in the future for more fun, product reviews, and sound advice. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.